Okay, so now we're at the curves panel. Let's come in here and take a look at what this is all about. Now you're looking at this image. I'm just going to bring it back down to fit in view. And you're going to look at this thing and say, curves, I don't see any curve in here. This is a linear. This thing here is the curve, but right now by default, it's a linear curve. And there's a couple of ways we can work with this, but one thing I need to stress with you is this is a tonal adjustment. Wait a minute, tonal adjustment? Didn't we deal with that over in the light slider panel over there? Yeah, we did. So you got to be careful, right? You got to just got to be careful about how you go about editing your images here. There's a couple of things that I want to point out. And first of all, this is a point curve. We have some points on the ends here. And notice that if I were to grab these points, we can manipulate the contrast of the image. All right, it's a linear, it's a straight line. Then we have a medium contrast curve. Medium contrast curve is going to lighten the lights and darken the darks and try not to do too much in the middle. Let's go back over to linear. See that 45-degree angle curve that's going through there? When you take this curve and go anywhere up, you're going to lighten your image, and when you come this way, you're going to be darkening your image. So if we come over here and choose medium contrast, notice that we've gone up a little bit above. See, the line is there. We've gone up just a tad there. This guy is sitting right in the center, and then these guys are slowly coming down. A little bit there, a little bit more in the shadow end. If I now come over here and choose strong contrast, you're going to see that the light go up a little bit higher in the graph, and the darks are going to come down a little bit lower. Not much, but just enough. Take a look at the histogram as well. All right, let's go back over to medium contrast. See how the histogram is moving in. If I come over here and do that, it's pushing out to the edges because we're increasing the contrast. Increasing the contrast pushes stuff here into the darker ends and push stuff here into the lighter ends. All right. Next, if I come over here to the linear, which is the default, and take a look at the histogram over there, you're going to see that it flattens out a little bit. Well, it didn't really flatten out a lot, but it did pull away from the extreme edges. Okay, so we've got these guys, and then you got custom. Well, custom's like we saw in another custom earlier. If I was to put my cursor in here, click, hold, and drag, say, up a little bit there, and then come over here and click, hold, and drag down, I've created my own medium contrast sort of kind of thing. But notice now it says custom because it wasn't from one of the default presets that's inside there. Now, one of the things that you'll notice is when you increase contrast in your color images, you also increase saturation. So what they've included now is a refined saturation slider, defaults to 100%, which is what it should be when you first start. But then if you say, you know, I like the contrast, I don't like the saturation or the vibrancy, it's just gone a little bit too much. So then you can use this to pull it back. And you can see how it's pulling back in this area here and in this area here, and probably other areas as well. My eyes just aren't focusing on that right now. And if I come over here, you can see how it blew out. Now it comes back and does that. So that's not a bad option as well. All right. So now that we're here and we're taking a look at that, you can see that one of these two little points on the point curve is highlighted. That is this guy here at 107 and 97. What this is saying is originally it was 107. We changed it, brought it down to 97. If I bring this down to 66, you see how it went down to 66. So if you know anything about the numbers you're wanting to put in here, by all means. Now, if you don't like what you did with your custom thing here, all you have to do is click on that point and drag it out. And then you're there, and then you click on this guy and you drag him out. Done. You can start all over again. See, it's back to linear. let's click on this and we go to the parametric curve. So we're over here, we're at the parametric curve, and as I'm moving my cursor up to the right, you can see the highlighted area on that linear curve is showing you what's going to be affected in those areas. So this is the shadows. This is the darks, which includes some of the shadows. This is the lights, which includes some of the, well, it's a mid-tone thing, and it's going into the highlights, and then this is just the highlight area. And down here you can see that they're divided into a quarter grid, 25% grid, if you will. And this is where the first one goes, the second one, the third one. So if you want to move stuff around using this guy, so let's come over here. And if I come in and do this, so we can come in here and do this in our curve, and you can see as I'm going up and down, slider values are changing. So you can come in and you can move the sliders left and right, or you can actually just click inside and say, well, I want to make sure that I'm doing this. So I want to have this and this, which is my highlights and my lights there. And this is that, and my shadows didn't get affected. So if I want to tighten things up a little bit, I can move this into here. I can move this into here, which is tightening up how things are going to be affected. If I move this slider, notice it's just that little bit that's wiggling. And if I come over here to my shadows, you can see it's just that little area that's wiggling. And if I come into my lights and darks, then it's going to be all of this. You got a lot more. Makes sense a little bit? I hope so. Okay, so now we're back to that. Now, the other thing is, if you wanted to, you could come in here and play with this guy, which is your linear curve. And then you can come over to the red channel just by itself, the green channel just by itself, or the blue channel just by itself. You can come in and play around with these guys. I would not advise you to come in and play around with those guys until you really know what's going on.